You have been trained to believe that everything you want to achieve in life requires relentless effort, extreme sacrifice, absolute control. Since childhood, you have heard phrases like, "Don't give up. Those who want it, make it happen. The world belongs to the strong." You grew up believing that if you weren't always fighting, planning, correcting, forcing, something terrible would happen. Perhaps you haven't realized it yet, but this belief has created an invisible prison within you. A prison of constant tension, of fear disguised as ambition, of anxiety painted with the colors of determination. Alan Watts saw this clearly. He understood that the West, by idolizing effort and control, has built a neurotic civilization where people run all the time without knowing where they are going. Where doing has become more important than being. Where every moment of calm is viewed with suspicion, as if inactivity were a threat, a mistake, a weakness to be corrected. We live in societies that venerate excess productivity, excess information, excess goals. Life turns into an endless project to be managed, optimized, maximized. And in this insane quest for control, you drift further and further away from yourself. You become a stranger within your own existence. Have you noticed this? Have you ever felt that sensation of doing everything right, studying, working, producing, and yet carrying an unbearable emptiness as if something essential were missing? It is. And that something is the connection to the natural flow of life, to the Tao, to that which cannot be forced, only lived. But the mind, conditioned by control, does not accept this reality. It fears the unforeseen, the unexpected, the unknown. It wants guarantees. And for that, it builds suffocating routines, rigid goals, strategies that try to eliminate all uncertainty. Yet uncertainty is an essential part of life. Mystery is part of the beauty of being alive. By trying to eliminate the unforeseen, we also eliminate the magic, the surprise, the true spontaneity that makes life worth living. Alan Watts warned, "The more we try to control life, the more we separate ourselves from it. It's like trying to capture the fragrance of a flower by closing it in an airtight vault. You preserve the form, but lose the essence. And the result is an artificial, mechanical, weary existence, where everything needs to be managed like a factory, including your emotions, your relationships, your own dreams." But there is a way out. There is a way to break these invisible chains, a way to return to living lightly, without having to abdicate responsibility, but freeing yourself from the unnecessary weight of illusory control. And that is exactly what we will explore in the next part. How to practically apply the principle of Wu Wei in the midst of modern life. A world that demands haste, but that deep down desperately longs for presence. Get ready to discover that doing less is not weakness. It is wisdom. And that acting with less effort can, paradoxically, take you much further. If what you're hearing resonates with you, you'll find real value in my ebook, Beyond the Shadow. It breaks down Jung's core ideas and gives you tools to understand yourself more deeply. Link is in the pinned comment. Talking about Wu Wei in theory may seem enchanting, almost poetic. But how to live Wu Wei in a world that demands haste? How to act in harmony with the flow of life while being bombarded daily by demands, goals, notifications, and unending expectations? That is the real question. And the answer is not simple. It requires courage. It requires, above all, a profound shift in perspective about what it means to act intelligently and what it truly means to live well. Applying Wu Wei in the modern world is not about abandoning your responsibilities, dropping everything, and isolating yourself on a mountain. That is the mistake many make when they hear about non-effort, confusing it with apathy or negligence. Wu Wei is about acting, yes, but from a different place, a place of awareness, of attention, of attunement with what is real and possible in that moment, and not from a frantic attempt to force results that cannot be controlled. In practice, Wu Wei begins with a gesture of humility, recognizing that you do not govern the universe, that there are greater forces than you at work all the time, and that your true power lies not in fighting against them, but in learning to listen to them, to feel them, to dance with them. This requires slowing down, breathing, observing before reacting, stopping to act on impulse, driven by the fear of falling behind, and starting to act in alignment with what truly matters. In daily life, Wu Wei is choosing quality over quantity. It is preferring depth over haste. It is knowing that sometimes the best action is the pause. It is the courage to say no to activities, commitments, obligations that only exist to feed an ego hungry for validation. It is silencing the external noise to hear the internal whisper, the one that has always been there, guiding you, but that you never had the time or courage to listen to. Wu Wei also manifests in the ability to trust the natural cycles of life. There are moments of action and moments of waiting, moments of blooming and moments of retreat. But our culture, obsessed with uninterrupted growth, makes us believe that stopping is failing. Alan Watts reminds us that even winter has its essential role in the cycle of nature, and that sometimes the greatest progress you can make is simply allowing yourself to be where you are, without trying to rush the next chapter. Practicing Wu Wei in the modern world is therefore an act of conscious rebellion. It is swimming against the current of collective anxiety, not to outdo others, but to not lose yourself. It is reversing the logic of scarcity, which says that you are never enough, never have enough time, never do enough, and reconnecting with the logic of natural abundance, that being, simply being, is already complete. But living this way requires vigilance, because the old programming, that of control, haste, excess, will try to pull you back all the time. It will whisper that you are falling behind, that you need to do more, achieve more, prove more. And it is in those moments that you will have the real opportunity to choose, to repeat the pattern of resistance, or to trust the flow of the Tao. This choice, at its core, is the beginning of a radical transformation. And it is exactly about this transformation that we will talk in the next part. The moment when you finally stop forcing, and everything in your life begins to change. Prepare to understand the silent power of conscious surrender, the point where, paradoxically, you become truly free. There comes a moment in life when you need to make a fundamental choice. Either you keep forcing, struggling, insisting on swimming against the current until your body and soul are exhausted, or you finally decide to let go, understanding that life is not a battle to be won, but a mystery to be lived. Alan Watts said that the paradox of true transformation is that it happens not when you force changes, but when you stop resisting what is already trying to emerge within you. When you stop forcing, you create space. Space for life to surprise you. Space for new opportunities to arise, those you could never have planned. Space for you to reconnect with your intuition, with your body, with the silent flow of the Tao that has always been guiding you, even in moments when everything seemed lost. True freedom is not doing whatever you want at any moment. True freedom is being so deeply aligned with life that your actions become natural extensions of what reality demands. It is acting without anxiety, creating without pressure, loving without fear. It is ceasing to be a desperate manager of your own existence to become a conscious participant in the infinite dance of life. And this, of course, requires practice. It requires internal vigilance. It requires the courage to face the old impulses that, in moments of fear, will try to drag you back into the futile struggle against what is. But now, you already know. Now, you have a choice. So, before you leave this video, I want to propose something to you. Stop for a moment and observe. What is the area of your life where you are forcing the most today? Where do you feel you are swimming against the river, struggling against something that perhaps just needs to be accepted, understood, or simply allowed to flow? Comment down below. Share with me and with everyone on this journey where your greatest struggle is today. Sometimes, just recognizing it is already a giant step towards freedom. And if this message resonated with you, if somewhere inside you something awakened, don't stop here. The next video is an important continuation of this journey. It's not just more content, it's an essential piece for you to understand even more deeply how to live with awareness, with lightness, with real presence. Keep watching, because the transformation you seek has already begun, and it deserves to be lived fully. See you there.